everyone, it's Crezney. Welcome back to my channel. How you doing? So today's video is gonna be all about nose piercing. So these are just gonna be all about my tips and advice and basically all about my knowledge about nose piercing, my little guideline, things for you guys to know if you're gonna get a nose piercing or if you're thinking about getting one, I don't know, or if you just wanna know. So I've had my nose piercing for about like a year now, March around last year. So I've had my nose piercing for about a year now, so I think I'm a little certified to be telling you guys about what I know about my nose piercing. So first and foremost, I did get my nose piercing at home, like I did it myself. So you guys are here and you guys want to know about how, getting your nose piercing at a shop. This video might not be for you because I don't have much knowledge about it, but I will be telling you guys quite a bit that I've heard. This is just a lot of things that I've done at home because I didn't go to a shop for my nose piercing. So yeah, that's a little disclaimer for you guys. Back to what I was saying, I did pierce my own nose at home. Let me just tell you the do's and don'ts of it. I recommend you go into a shop, get it professionally pierced. Don't be like me, get your nose professionally pierced, please. I feel like it is just more safer, and the professionals, they know what they're doing, so you don't really have to worry. They would teach you a lot about the aftercare, the healing process, and everything that you would need to know to take care of your nose piercing. Because if you pierce your nose at home and you don't do enough research like me, then your nose piercing journey is gonna be quite a couple of bumps, literally. I do believe that getting your nose pierced at a shop, correct me if I'm wrong, is range from $30 to $60. But I don't quite know for sure. If you're gonna get your nose piercing at home, make sure you do your research, okay? Make sure you do your research all about the nose piercing at home and everything, and just so it's safely done and sanitized and clean, because you don't want to get an infection. If you're piercing your nose at home, make sure you're cleaning inside and out and using a really clean needle. And if you use a needle, make sure you don't take it out and consistently go back in. Make sure if you're gonna put it there, that's gonna be your permanent spot of where you want your nose piercing, because taking the needle inside and out is not sanitized and it can cause a lot of infection to your nose. So just pierce it and continue on going. Do not pull out the needle. So that's a bit of a rundown if you're gonna pierce your nose at home. Make sure that you use clean materials. Make sure that you know exactly where you want to pierce your nose, and make sure that before you pierce or a needle goes in, make sure to clean outside and under your nose, okay? You don't want anything dirty going in. My second thing for an at-home nose piercing is make sure you have a stud or a ring ready, because I didn't. Oh, it's just so bad. It's really bad, okay? Do not be like me, okay? A nose ring of some sorts ready for you to pierce and put in afterwards, because your nose will close up really quick because it's pretty thick, and your tissues and everything, it will close up really fast. So make sure that beforehand you have something ready to go in your nose. I personally didn't, so okay, this is bad. Okay, this is really bad. My mom just told me to oh my god. My mom just told me to put in a regular earring in the nose. So I had a big ass diamond on my nose for one day, and then the next day that was that. But I didn't even clean it. It's super unsanitized. Girl, don't be like me. Make sure you are prepared. Mine was really off the bat, okay, I'm gonna pierce my own nose. But no, do not be like me. Make sure you are prepared. Do your research. Make sure you are ready if you're gonna pierce your nose at home, okay? I get my nose piercing from Claire's just because that's the only place that I can really get a hold of. Claire's has some nose piercing. They do have a lot of range. I bought a lot of those earrings from Claire's. They have hoops. They have hoops with diamonds. They have the hoops with the balls. So some nose piercing you can find are at Claire's. I do believe I've seen some at Spencer's as well. So Spencer's and Claire's are the place that I've seen it. I'm sure there's some at Walmart too. Or you can just order some online too. So there's really a lot of places where you can get your piercing. So yeah, make sure you have a piercing ready. Do not just plug in a regular ass earring like I did. Thank gosh I was lucky and didn't have a big infection, but you can really get infected if you're not really careful. So yeah. My next thing, if you are getting like a piercing or something, like I recommend getting a stud first before you get an actual ring on your nose, because just for beginners, it would be less likely for you to get an infection or a keloid on your nose. You can get a hoop if you want, but it's just a little bit more risky of getting like an infection or like touching it or snagging it on something. So on a safer route, get a stud first. When your wound is done healing, then you can go back and switch for a hoop. Hoops are so cute, like, but you know, just to be safe and for it to be less in your way and less for you to injure yourself, get a stud first. My next thing is, once you have your piercing in, it doesn't matter if you know you did it yourself from home or you got it done at a shop. Do not play with it, do not touch it. Like, especially for me, after I got my nose pierced, I was like really like, like, you know, but no, like try not to touch it as much as possible, because first, your hands are everywhere, especially with a really fresh wound. You don't want to infect it or have any bacteria like go near it, and especially because it's in the nose area too. So yeah, try not to touch it as much as possible. It's gonna be really hard because, you know, all you can think about is, oh my gosh, I just got my nose pierced, but like, just don't touch it. You might want to consistently like try to push it in because you feel like stud is coming back up, but like, just try not to, like, just try not to. Your nose will be sore. Like, my nose was definitely sore for a couple of days. Even like washing my face, I have to like lightly pat around my nose because like it was just really sore. And especially sleeping on my nose pierce, especially if you have a hoop, girl, this is why I say get a stud, because if you have a hoop and you sleep at night, you can like move it around, pull on it, and like blankets, pillowcase can get caught in it. So for the cleaning process, there's like a saline solution, and I've used that as well, and that did work for me. I'm currently using the sea salt cleaning process thing. Those work really well, especially if you have a keloid. It's just really good for cleaning your nose. If you're not really familiar with sea salt, basically anywhere that is like a grocery type of shop, you can find sea salt there. If you do find sea salt, make sure that it is non-iodized, 100% sea salt, or like natural sea salt. Is it iodine or iodized? Okay, somewhere like that. I did not know. I just thought that salt was iodized salt and then sea salt was non-iodized, so I just picked up whatever sea salt I got. Make sure you read it. Make sure it says natural, 100% sea salt, or non-iodized sea salt, because those are the ones that are gonna help cleanse your wound. And yeah, for the cleaning, all you have to do is pour in some sea salt with some warm water and like basically just kind of like put your nose in there. If you think that that's doing too much, then you can just take a Q-tip and like just put it there. But if you have a stud, you can't really just put the cotton right there because you're not really putting it on the wound. So if you have a stud, I recommend you dipping your nose in the sea salt, okay? But if you have a ring, it's easier for you to just put a cotton there by your nose piercing. For the first few weeks of a fresh piercing, I recommend you to, you know, dunk your nose in the sea salt in the water, because it's just gonna clean it better, okay? You really need to take care of your nose piercing. Like, you don't think it's a big deal, but once you get an infection, you're like, fuck. Make sure you clean your nose. Saline solution, you can get those at Walgreens. Like, I got mine from Walgreens. It was working really well for me. Next, I'm going to be talking about the healing process. The healing process is gonna take a while. You may think it's healed, but it's just not sore. Just because it's not sore does not mean it's healed, okay? It takes at least 6 months to a year to actually heal. I think mine's now, like, I don't even think it's fully healed yet. It's been a year, but because I did still try to like clean it and fuck, I don't remember what I was talking about. I've got my nose pierced for like a year already, and I still don't think it's like fully healed yet, because just like recently it was like it got really like sore. You may think your nose piercing is healed when it's really not, so be careful for that. Be patient, take good care of it, because like I said, you really don't notice how much you touch that area of your face until you have a nose piercing, girl. I'm pretty sure like throughout like maybe like around 2 to 3 months of your nose piercing, you'd want to change it into like a ring or another stud, or like you're just tired of looking at the same thing. You really have to wait for your wound to heal, to fully heal, in order for you to change your nose piercing. That's like the safest. If you really want to change it, make sure you get it professionally changed. If it's just a stud, then I think it's just okay to just kind of like take it out and put it back in. If you want to change your stud into a ring and you're not healed yet, make sure you get it professionally done, because like doing it by yourself could really like put bacteria in your nose, again, infection, or you can really just move it around in there and then your wound would really get, you know, really bad. Putting in a hoop is not easy. You think that putting in a hoop, you can just do that and loop it around, but actually the right way to put on a hoop, you have to put it through like inwards and then pull it outwards. I didn't know that either, especially the ones with the balls or the ones with the diamonds that are facing out. Like, you need to actually put it in the hoop through inwards and then pull it outwards. So it's not like the stud. The stud just goes in, but the actual hoop, you have to put it in and outwards. Like for me, that's why when I do wear hoops, I wear just regular hoops so I can just put it in. Like, that's one thing to keep in mind. So if you really do want to change your piercing, make sure you get it professionally done. When you do get your nose pierced changed, make sure you just really take good care of it. Taking care of your nose with a stud on versus taking care of your nose with a hoop on are two different things. Like, in my opinion, you really have to be more careful when you have a ring or a hoop in your nose. They're not just on your nose, they're like outwards. So like you really have to be careful like when your nose is itchy, or like if you're like me, I'm used to like doing that to my nose, so be careful with that. The next thing I want to touch up on is how you're going to be living with a nose piercing. Like especially like with blowing your nose or like, you know, picking your nose, because you know shit be itchy sometimes. Blowing your nose with the hoop on, you had your piercing for a while, I don't think it's really gonna affect it. But if you have like a really fresh piercing and you need to blow your nose, I usually just blow as light as possible, and then with the axis I just get a tissue or a Q-tip and I just like clean up around. And yeah, I just don't like all that over my hoops, so it's nasty. Blowing your nose with a stud is okay, but you do have to be a little bit more careful when pulling. A couple of times for me, I blow my nose and my freaking stud will pop out with it. I've actually lost one because I blew my nose and that shit was gone. Blowing your nose is just gonna be okay. You just have to be aware that you have something there. Make sure you have other piercings for backup, okay? Don't just have one. When you have like a piercing covering your nose right here, once or twice a week you want to take out and just clean the outside of your nose. The stud is really blocking a lot of things that you can't really clean, so to really clean the outside, I like to take out my stud and clean it out. And this one time I took out my stud and that shit fell inside the sink. Make sure you have a couple of piercings for backup. Sorry, I know this video is like all around the place, but just try to keep up with me here. I think I pretty much touched down on all of the things about blowing your nose and everything. That's basically it for this video. If you guys do have any questions about nose piercing, make sure to comment them down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. If not, I think this should be pretty good enough to cover everything that I've had with my nose piercing. So I feel like nose piercing looks good on everyone, so if you want it, go and get it, girl. Just make sure that you clean and you take care of it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you're subscribed. Like this video if you enjoy it, and more videos will be coming up soon. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!